Welcome, Isiaka. How are you doing?
I'm fine, sir.
Good. So how's the job search coming on?
Okay.
How is it coming on?
I've not get any job.
But you didn't email me, like I told you to email me.
My phone was faulty. Now I talked to Kamala to send your email to me. She didn't send it.
Okay. Okay, you'll get it. She will send that to you.
Let me get your email again so that
she will send it to you.
Follow it up.
Okay.
Not be getting.
We'll get other people now, but you'll get one. All right.
How are you doing?
Fine. So how's the studies coming up?
So we are going, we are pushing it.
Okay, good. Somebody is joining.
How's family?
Fine, thank you. Just to indicate that I know I'm recording this session. If you don't want your face to show,
No,
should maybe I can edit the session in which your face has shown. So let me know.
Okay, I'll mute it. I'll stop the videos.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Olamide. Okay. Olamide, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are we today?
Fine, sir. And you, sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. Rotimi.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome back from your short holiday.
Just needed. All right. So we'll just see. All right. So I think we'll just trying to wait a little bit for people. We'll continue our session on answering interview techniques.
Okay.
How do you answer questions in an interview? For any organization you see, or any interview you get, once they invite you for an interview, it means they have interest in you. You now need to be able to ensure that you interview well.
Okay.
You need to interview well. You need to prove your worth, so to speak, to the organization. So once you are invited for an interview, that's a good sign that they have interest in you. But like I keep saying, before they can invite you for an interview, your CV must say a very good story. Your CV must present you as someone that is interesting for them to invite to come and say, oh, let's speak to this person, let's hear this person out. It's very important. It's very important that your CV say that that story about you. So, okay. I wanted to. So I just want to notify the people again that we are live. Then we'll just go for today's session. What we have to deal with today. I hope you find today is very, very interesting, but very interesting, and we'll go for it now. Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Found it. All right. So, like we normally do, let's start with the word. We ask that, Lord, you help us today, that what we learn will be useful and help us to get a job in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Now, the session today, we've looked at, let me share my screen we've looked at various aspects in the process, like like I do mention that getting a job is a complex web of various steps. And one of those, what is that? Okay. So getting a job is, okay, the email address. That's the email address you can send to me. So one of the key, getting a job is a web, and you need to get every section correct. So, like, this is the topic we're talking about finding motivation, overcoming obstacles. Currently, wherever you are now, you need to understand what are the obstacles that are hindering you from getting a job. You need to know now. You need to know what are those obstacles that are blocking you from getting a job. And your ability to remove that obstacle would help you to move ahead. And that is why I would suggest that if you have any opportunity to go for any interview, I would suggest that you try and take record or record yourself and be able to listen over and see where you made mistakes and be able to see how you can correct that anomaly. It is important that you have a way of reflecting all what you said and being able to correct those things. So we have discovering your strengths, getting to know your employers, writing CV 1 and 2, succeeding in interviews. We have been succeeding in interviews, and we've handled different questions. We've handled questions of, tell me about yourself. Why do you want to work here in this organization? We've handled questions of, why do you think you're the right candidate? Or said in another way, why are you the best candidate? Or said in another way, why should I hire you and not someone else? Why should I hire you? So these are the things we've looked at. And today we'll go on to look at what are your greatest. It's 2 questions. You can ask it in one or in a different way. What are your strengths? Or what are your weaknesses? What are your weaknesses? And this particular question is a catch, is always a thing to catch you, in which you must ensure that you are not caught in the web. When somebody asks you what are your weaknesses, or first and foremost, any question that you are asked, before you answer, it's good to reflect and think, why are they asking me this question? What do they want me to say? That will help guide you, for you not to say what will put you into problem. And that is to say what will make you not to get the job. We're not saying lie, no, we're saying you need to be presentable, present facts as clear as possible. Present facts as clear as possible. Now, you remember that I've given example to say, when you see a job description, I normally do this, and I've done it before. When you see a job description that you are interested in, the first thing you do is to spend minimum 30 minutes reading the job description, going through the job description line by line, looking at the words they use, looking at how they crafted the wordings, looking at the person's specification, looking at the responsibilities you're going to be doing in that organization. You need to look at what responsibility you'll be doing in that organization. Looking at the person's specification. Look at also benefits. What are the benefits that will come working in that organization? After you've done all that, you go over it again and you look at the job description and look at it one by one, word by word. Which of these listed job description can I do? Or better still, I have done before. I have experience in doing. You list out those. After you have done that, you now take a plain sheet of paper. A plain sheet of paper. Then, on this plain sheet of paper, what you do is document, pour down all your skills, what you have, how you've done or where you worked before. Pour it here, the skills you have, the qualities, like I mentioned, remember the qualifications, QESA, that Q, that's acronym, QESA or SE or SECA SEQA. Pour down your skills. Do you have a skill? If, for example, if it's a translation company, they translate, and you have skill of speaking, you have the skill of being able to speak in more than one language, and you have all those things. So if it's a transcription organization, you list it. Skill, that was skill, ability to speak in many languages. You list out the languages, and you look at if what they are asking is in line with the languages you can speak. Because there's no point saying you can do something when it doesn't have any value. Your experiences, you list them. Your exposure, your education, you list them. You list all those things down. You list your achievement. What have you achieved? Now, this is very specific to your career. So we're not saying, oh, you built 2-bedroom flats, for example. No. Or you have a mortgage. No. Those are personal things to you. We're talking about what have you achieved in line of the job that you are applying for. List out all those achievements. You see, when you do that, it helps you prepare. It helps you prepare yourself in answering any interview questions, because now you can see you do the linkage. What they're looking for, what I have, where have I used this skill? What they're looking for, excuse me, what they're looking for, what you have, where have you used that knowledge? Okay, let me go straight into today. All those are just preamble. What are your strengths? And this, for those who have been with us, we've had a session. Maybe I should just, you need to know your strengths. You need to know your strengths. So what are your strengths? Let me see, let me pick on just with me. What are your strengths? If in this interview, in an interview, and they ask, what are your strengths? You can respond, please. Before I share my screen. Oh, she's not there. Okay, let me say, Fortune Watchable. What are your strengths? You're in an interview and we are asking, what are your strengths? What do you say? Okay, Fortune also is not available. Let's come to Isiaka. Ganyu, what are your strengths? What are your strengths? When you go for an interview and the interview panel is asking, you say, oh, Mr. Isiaka Ganyu, thank you very much for applying for this interview. Thank you for all the questions you've answered before. Now, we are now going to, I'll ask the next set of questions. I can see that you have some broad range of experience. So what are your strengths? So Isaka, what will you say? So everybody I've called are not available today. So let's see. Michelle, are you available to help us? What are your strengths? I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm clear. I'm audible.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I know a bit of my strength and a bit of my weakness. So to answer that question, I would say that I'm a very outspoken person. I'm fluent in communication. I'm a good listener and I have empathy. And a little of my weakness is not being able to judge. Hello?
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Not being able to vote.
I'm not able to judge what by physical appearance of customers or who I'm talking to. Sorry, I did not really get the particular interview or question or the company, the organization, or are we generalizing?
It's the same, any question, any company go through, they want to know what are your strengths. The strength and the weakness. Your weakness and strength do not change based on the company you're working for, isn't it?
Yeah, yes,
Uh-huh.
yeah. But if I know depending on the company, I may want to key out some kind of strengths
So
and
use
weakness.
your initiative and creativity and create a response.
Okay, okay. So my response will not be ambiguous because I don't have much strength as a starter. I'm just coming up into the labor market and trying to build up strength. Then I also have few weaknesses. So I will just elaborate a few of them.
Okay, well, we've settled in that way. So the key point when you hear this information, this in an interview, your strength or your weakness, it means you need to tread carefully. It means you need to tread carefully. Why? Because the way you answer this question could turn the interview against you or make the interview go in your favor. And that's the reason why I said earlier, spend time to minimum of 30 minutes, go through the job description and look at your personality. I will show you some samples of that now and see where does it connect. Where does your skill set and your skills and your as a personality, does it have anything to do with helping you to do the job? You need to know that. So you can use everything. You can sell yourself in a way that they would be able to think of giving you the job. All right, let me share. Okay. You need to know when it comes to the issue of your personality, we are talking about something like this. I didn't think you are seeing the screen. Yes, you can see my screen now. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
So you need to know which bucket you fall. And we're not saying that any personality is perfect or any personality is a failure. It is just good for you to know yourself and be able to use that knowledge wisely to buttress and position yourself as the right candidate. Now, it's important that you know this. And we're not saying any personality is wrong or right. We're only saying that your ability to know what you are helps you to know how to compensate for that by giving examples that will show a positive light. I hope you get my point. So let's go to, so in any area, maybe you are sanguine, you are choleric, you are phlegmatic or melancholic, you need to know how does that help you. Say, for example, melancholic, it says is perfectionist, eye for detail, heavy-hearted, will keep everything tidy from the beginning to the end, to the cleansing up is easy and simple. So somebody who is a melancholic, what does the person do? A perfectionist, attention to detail. The person pays attention to detail. So when you are someone who find yourself as a melancholy, you can link that to, does the job role, the job description or the skills they need, do they need someone that is have attention to detail? Can you see how it connects? So you can help the employers to connect yourself with the skills that you have. And so it's important for you to know your personality. Do you know, surprise, surprise, it has only they've done the research also to say, hey, it seems your the amount of money you make on earth also seems to be linked to your personality. How you're able to use your personality. It's often said that those who are sanguine oftentimes make a lot of money. And they also have series of failures in life. But because they have that flexibility of fail, bounce back, fail, bounce back, they are able to become financially stable. Do you get my point? They become financially stable. Is the reason why when they are able to take risk, the more risk you take, the more money you make. So the higher the risk, the higher the returns. The lower the risk, the lower the returns. So those who are extroverts, sanguine, have been able to master that. Your ability to master your personality will give you an added advantage. So look at yourself, look at your life. What kind of personality do you have? Okay, let me progress now. You already see all the kind of. So if somebody says, if you went for an interview and they're looking for somebody with attention to detail, particularly, and you are good with numbers, and I just say, you just mention it as one of the things to say, well, thank you for interviewing for this role. I'm a person that pays attention to detail. I'm in particular when it comes to the issue of numbers, the numbers of the organization, the books of the organization. And you demonstrate, I say, in my last role, I did X, Y, Z. Based on that set, based on that knowledge that you have, you're able to provide. And when you are asked this question, either to the good part, tell me about yourself, or the bad part, don't say anything negative. Some people advise, they say, oh, use some things in the letter, in the word count. Don't do that. That will put you in a bad light. Don't use what is in the description as an example that you want to use and is negative. It might backfire. You don't know the person who is interviewing you. Maybe the person woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day. If the person woke up on the wrong side of the bed, that might be a problem for you. So ensure that you are able to go through the interview and answer the questions that you have been asked. Don't answer the question you are not asked. See, we do that oftentimes when we go for interview. They ask you a question, you now leave the question they asked you down. You now begin to answer the question they did not ask you. So that is what so quickly now, when it comes to the issue of tell me about your what is your greatest strength? You've seen those things I've showed, your personality. Your personality is a good strength for you. Like you mentioned that if you are outgoing, so if your work involves sales, selling things, making sales, you link that up. Michelle, you link that up with sales, the job, what you are being to do. So if you are extroverted, say, well, thank you very much, Mr. Michelle, for having me. My greatest strengths, well, like you know, each one of us have different kind of capacity and knowledge. For me as a person, I'm sanguine, or which can be called extroverted. So I like to easily start friendship, keep friendship, and maintain those friendships. And I know that in my role as the marketing manager for Xylophone Limited, UK, my role is to ensure that I create new business opportunities. I visit the clientele. I make sure they get the products. So because I'm used to creating relationship, starting relationship, talking to people, I am very confident and sure that it will not be hard for me to increase the portfolio of those we have on file from 50 to 250 or 300 by engaging the community, engaging the people that need your service. All right. Any question to this point? Any question? Everything is so quiet today. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Your greatest. Okay, based on my own knowledge, I feel
I
that
hear you
when
clearly.
I'm talking, are you hearing me, sir?
Yeah,
Are you hearing me, sir?
yes.
I'm feeling that.
We can hear
Okay.
you. Go
I'm
ahead.
saying that I thought when they asked some.
Your audio is very poor.
Supposed to showcase your skills, but
We didn't hear what you said earlier.
Your core.
We didn't hear what you said earlier. So
hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I said, because you said about the greatest strength, I thought you showcase your skill. That should, that should be your point of focus. Then you now go to your behavioral character before other things. Are you supposed to talk about your behavior before your skill?
It all depends. It all depends. There's no hard and fast rule. Your behavior or your behavior, it all depends. Your behavior, or what you call your, I assume what you call your behavior is your personality, correct?
Yes, I know. Yes, sir.
If that's so, it all depends. Yes. You are selling. Don't forget, an interview session is a sales meeting.
Exactly.
So you are everything in your baggage, you bring it out to sell. You use, like I give you that acronym, SECA or KESA, your qualifications. You use your qualification to sell yourself. You use your education to sell yourself. You use your, my internet is not.
Yeah, it's going up and down.
So let me see if it's my end. So you use your everything you have in your arsenal to sell yourself. You use your qualifications to sell yourself. You use your experience to sell yourself. You use your exposures to sell yourself. You use your education to sell yourself. You use your skills to sell yourself, your achievements to sell yourself. And now we're talking about the issue of your personality. If it aligns quickly, well, with the role, you use that to sell yourself. To say, oh, thank you very much. I'm a person, I'm very adventurous. I'm a very adventurous person. And I think in the last year, I was able to climb I'm just giving the tip hypothetical. There's the highest mountain in Scotland here. I've been able to climb Mount, what's the name of that mountain again? I've forgotten. in Scotland. I'll be able to climb that mountain. And that is just the nature of my being adventurous. I like to push myself. I like to go to the next level. And that is a kind of a personality I have. And for this role as a business development manager, which I'm applying for, I'm going to be able to bring that to bear, going to certain new territories, going into or new frontiers where people have not gone before. I'll be able to, bring that my drive, that my push, that my adventurism to help increase the market share for this particular organization. You see, everything that you have experienced in life is an asset for you to use to sell yourself. Is your only. So let's go to practical examples now. So okay, I hope you can all still hear me. I hope I'm not cut off. Okay. So everything you have, you can use to sell yourself. So like I mentioned, ensure that when you're answering the questions, use STAR technique. So maybe I should start with, so when you talk about, now this I'm answering you is your strength. What is it you are good at? Are you good at numbers? If you remember, we did a topic for those who were there last time about discovering your strengths. If you remember, those who were there, who have attended, we are going to come back to it because we run this based on in a cyclical mode. We'll come back to it. We go to the end. We come back again. What are your people-based skills? Your strengths? Are you good at talking to people, listening to people? Are you good at explaining things to people? Are you good at dealing with complaints? Are you good at organizing people? Are you good at persuading people? Are you good at motivating people? Are you good at caring for people? Are you good at being supportive, training people, managing people, working well in a team? Or are you very good at DIY? And the job requires a DIY, that is do it yourself. Practical skills. Are you good at using cooking? You are good at cleaning. You are good at using hand tools. You are good at operating powered equipment. You are good at maintaining equipment and machinery. You are good at using physical strength to do it. So you look at what they're looking for and you bring your strengths to bear. You tell them what, and you link it up how it will work on that job. Are you good at analytical thinking? You are very good at thinking. You are good at very, very cognitive. You are very cerebral and cognitive. You are very good at being creative. You're very good at coming up with new ideas, generating new ideas. You're very good at deciding that an idea is good or bad. You're very good at thinking of ways to improve things. You always think of how can we improve processes? How are we, and I've told you, your achievement should always be framed around, did you improve profit? Did you improve market share? Did you reduce time for doing a project? Did you reduce the time, cut down time for doing something? Did you bring in a new process or a new way of doing something? So are you good at working out to correct errors? I remember somebody who have been in this job club, the place she worked before in the account, she was able to decipher and work out errors and save the company about, I can't remember now, but it's less than £1 million if you convert it to Europe, because he was able to save the company money, improve the process for them. And by improving the process, they were able to save money. So are you good at saving money? What are your strengths? Don't forget, that's the question we are answering. What are your strengths? Are you good at planning strategically? You can plan ahead. You can plan to T. You can plan anything. Are you good at planning? When it comes to numbers, are you very good at keeping record? Numbers, numerical numbers, you are home and dry when it comes to numbers. The work you are applying for, is there any element of it that will require you to be keeping numbers, do number work? You need to bring that to bear. Are you good at following instructions? It's also a skill. It's also your personality. Some people, they dominate. They don't like taking instruction. So if you are good at taking instruction, it's also a strength. How do you present that to help you with the job? Are you good at checking that information is correct? Are you good at writing? And the job you are applying for needs writing. They need to write copy. They need to do things. Are you good at writing a report and emails? Are you good at keeping paperwork, organizing things appropriately? Are you good at researching? For business development, you need to do a lot of research. Are you good at researching? Are you good at working out priority of orders for work? Are you good at managing time to be able to meet deadlines? So you need to know what are your strengths and give examples of how you use those strengths to help your previous company and link it up with this particular one. But let's go to the other question. So that's one question. Are there any questions before I go to the next one? And I'm looking at my time. Do you have any questions before I go to the next one, which is what are your greatest weakness, or what are your weaknesses? Are you all with me? I hope I'm not talking to myself. Let me get a feel that you are with me. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, good. So what are your weaknesses? Please, when you are asked what are your weaknesses, ensure that the example you give does not relate to doing the job, or else you not get the job. The example you give must be something that is already in the past. You have overcome it. You have dealt with it. Don't go and begin to say, oh, my weakness, oh, when I was so and so, I committed an error and the company folded up. They will say, oh, you want to come and fold our own company too, you will commit the same error. Don't forget his behavioral interview questions. So they know what you have done before. They're going to replace it. You're going to replicate it with us, working with this organization. So you must ensure that examples you are giving are the things you have overcome, and you must show how you overcame it. So say, for example, when they say, what are your greatest weakness? You talk about professional weaknesses now. That's the context, not personal weaknesses. Professional, not your personal. Don't say, I talk too much. No. Professional weaknesses, the things that has to do with the job. So if you think about, what are your weaknesses? Oh, I have limited knowledge of a particular software. In my previous job, they brought there was a change in trying to improve our organization. Well, okay, let me make it present well. Thank you very much for that question. In my previous assignment, my previous company, there was a time in which the management took a decision and we needed to change the software, our SAP that we're using, or our ERP that we're using for this software. And it was very hard. So learning new software, so limited knowledge of that particular software. It was very challenging and very hard time for me. But quickly, because I tend to take my time to learn, but for that particular occasion, I raised up to the challenge by going on YouTube, calling my friends who have used the software, and spending more time on YouTube. I was quickly able to get the knowledge of that software. And in no time, in 6 months, we're using that software. In fact, we use it to the extent of making sales and making money for my company. You see how I use that example? Any example you're giving must be professional, not personal, because people, there's a theory that says that people don't like change, that you are going to remain the same way you are. So another thing you can talk about is what? Micromanaging. Are you a person that micromanages? In other words, you don't like delegating. You don't like delegating things. You like to do everything yourself. Even when you delegate it or when you give it out, you still be on the neck of the person and be asking, have you done that? Have you done this? So I'm always, when I give responsibility to people, I've also always fallen in time past of micromanaging them. But I've been able to solve that problem by taking courses on delegation. I went to Robert Goddard University to do a course on delegation, leadership course on delegation. And since that time, that has helped me to, from that point, to trust the judgment of my subordinates, to be able to give them the leeway to learn on the job. And since then, I've been able to solve that problem of delegating, trusting my employees, and helping them, along the line. It could be what again? It could be closed-mindedness. Closed-mindedness. It means you're not open to new ideas. You are very, don't use the word myopic, but you have closed-mindedness. So to say, I have closed-mindedness, but I've been able to solve that problem by attending courses about innovation, creativity, understanding. I even went to do a physiology or psychology course to understand why I am like that. And with that help, I've been able to move from that. I've now been able to open to new ideas. And interesting enough, in my last place of work, in fact, the current process we're using was something which I was initially not in favor of, or because of my course I've attended, I was the one that brought even the idea to the table, and we're able to use the idea, and we saved the company a lot of money. So whatever example you give, it could be focusing on one task at a time. It means you cannot multitask. There are two tasks you need to deliver at the same time. So they want to know your power of prioritization. So, okay, I've been able to do that. How have you been able to do that? Tell us how you're able to solve the problem of being able to multitask. Prioritizing. I don't know if you've been to your manager your line manager gave you an assignment. Then the boss of your line manager gave you an assignment. What will you do? They want to know, what will you do? Will you tell the senior boss that, sorry, I am not able to do it because I have an assignment? Or will you tell your line manager that I'm not able to do the work you're giving me because the senior boss have given me an assignment? They want to see your judgment, your power of prioritization. So you need to be able to show how you solve this problem, or focusing on one task, or being too honest. So when it comes to hard skills, soft skills, people skills, which is communication, delegation, show how you have transformed in any negative thing you have shared before. What did you do? You attended a workshop, you used an app, to help you. You went on YouTube to watch videos, you read a book that helped you, you went for a training that helped you, you worked with a mentor to guide you, you did voluntary, you went for a voluntary role to help you to master that skill. Or you joined a professional association. And through that, you were able to master that skill. All right. Do we have any question? Does this make sense? maybe I'll take one more question and we'll call it a day. Do we have any question? Or any experience? Do you have any question or any experience you want to share? So if there's no response, I assume that so another question that can come to you is, tell me about a time you failed. Tell me of a time you failed. Now, this question and the question of weakness is they want to know, do you think, do you reflect? Do you spend time to reflect? And also, if apart from why they're asking this question, they want to know if you are always blaming your failure on other people. They'll say, oh, we wouldn't actually fail if not for Mr. Jack. Mr. Jack was the problem we had, Mr. Jack. They want to know if you are a team player, you own your failure or the things that you have done, and you try to change from that. They want to know if you own or you blame others. What did you learn in that process from that failure? What did you learn? They want to know what was the ultimate outcome. What was the ultimate outcome? And what did you do to recover from that failure? These are the things they want to know, because they know that in this particular role you are applying for, there might be times that you're going to come up around this kind of situation. So they want to know, so it could be failure of poor time management, in which you give a client that you're going to deliver the job to them in 1 month, but 3 weeks to the end of delivery of the project, the person you trusted, who has assured you that they're going to deliver the project, they're going to do everything, resigned from the company or fell sick. What did you do? That's the example we're talking about now. Or it could be a time in which you actually did the calculation. What was it I was saying? I think it was in one interview, one session I attended of a person who said that they did a calculation and gave the boss, the VP or the guy at the top, a wrong figure, which destroyed the whole. But they owned up and quickly went to meet the boss and said, sorry, I've given you wrong information. And the wrong information has been implemented. So quickly they had to make changes. So people want to know, are you self-aware? Do you look at things from a different perspective? And what did you do? Did you own up? Could it be a problem of miscommunication, misunderstanding at work? How do you do it? I know I've been somewhere before in which they asked me, you're working in a team, and the person, and I know this one is a different question altogether, but I think, let me just flow the way you're working in a team, and this is a question about teamwork, and one of your critical person is not pulling their weight. They're not doing the job. What do you do? They want to know if you're going to go and report that person. Say, no, well, if I'm part of a team, and tell us if you have done it before. They want to know also if I've done it before. Is for you to say, no, I'm not going to report the person. The first thing I'm going to do is have a meeting with the person, go out for coffee, get to understand their personal situations, because it could be family challenges they're going through and it's affecting their concentration at work. And I'm able to know how I can support them, how I can help them. So what I've done to solve that problem is I resume half hour early to do part of the person's job, or I stay late to do part of the person's job, so that our deadline is not met. Does that make sense? All right. I think it is some few minutes to. There are other questions, but like I told you, you could see why when I said that this part of this topic of succeeding in interviews, there are about 15 questions that it would be nice for you to know how to answer these questions and prepare answers to these questions. When you go for any interview, you will not be caught off guard. You'll be able to, present yourself. So I think I will just stop now at this. There are other questions like, why did you leave your last job? There are other questions, how long, if you've been out of how long have you been out of work and how do you spend your time? There are other questions like, tell me about a time you worked well in a team. There are other questions like, how would you deal with an angry customer if you're in a customer-facing role? How will you deal with an angry customer or an angry client? There are other pressures like, how do you cope with pressure? How do you cope with pressure? There are other questions like, tell me of a time when you were in a difficult situation. There are other questions like, tell me or describe a time when you solved a difficult problem. Describe a time when you solved a difficult problem. There are other times, like a question like, tell me about a time when you showed creativity. You showed creativity. You showed creativity. Or another question could come in, I would say, tell me about a time when you went above and beyond the call of duty. You went above and beyond the job description, which is when I say call of duty, I mean the job description, what you're employed for. You went above and beyond, and how did that end? What did that lead to? They could also ask, have you been involved in, if it's a responsibility, what have been your responsibility? What have been your what will you be responsible for? Now, I would like to end this session by saying, please, 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 don't go for any interview and they ask you, do you have any question for us? And you don't have a question. If you go for any interview, you must have questions. You having questions, don't forget, it is them interviewing you and you also interviewing them to know if that is the place you want to work, to know if you are that kind of environment or culture is what you would like to work in. So you must definitely have a question. And some of the questions, like I normally tell advice, is don't ask questions in money. How much is it paid? That was already on the job description in the advertisement, isn't it? So you don't ask about how much will I be paid. That you can find out. Ask very good questions. You ask them, oh, Mr. Wilson, it's been nice. You mentioned that you've been here for 15 years. How has he been working here for the past 15 years? Let them also speak. That's a question. Then you say, oh, thank you very much it's been a wonderful time interviewing today. What are the KPIs? What do you expect of me to deliver in the first 30 days, in the first 60 days or 90 days? What are the key things I must deliver? In that way, they are making it very clear for you. You know what are your KPIs, which you need to deliver during that period. Then you can also ask, Mr. Jack, what does a typical day look like working in Xylophone Limited? Then they tell you what a typical day looks like. So you are getting a picture of that. Now you can ask, oh, Mr. Wilson, you've been the manager during COVID. How was it been managing people remotely during COVID? You must have sensible questions to ask to show that you have interest in the company, to show that you are thoughtful. You've thought about the organization. You've thought about, or you can even ask them if you want to, of all my skills, what do you think will be most important for this role? You know, you've seen my CV, you've interviewed me. Of all the skills I have, and I have very kind of, which one do you think will be much more, applicable for this role? Or you've seen my CV and I've interviewed, what additional skills do you think I need to get to help me to perform well for this role, to be able to stand out on this role? Or what kind of a person succeeds in this company? What kind of a person succeed in this company working with you? So these are some of the questions you can ask. If you have not been able to do your research about the competitor, you don't know their competitor and how the competitor work, you can ask, if you have the boldness, what's the competition like in this sector? How do you stay ahead of the competition? How is technology impacting this business? Now you had, if you are interviewing for Amazon, Amazon is sacking how many thousands of jobs, and you are interviewing there as a manager. So how is technology changing the landscape of Amazon, for example? How will this job change over time? I know you are thinking of merging or maybe merging with another company. So how would that change? For example, you are aware that Credit Suisse is going under, UBS is buying it. So when there's a merger, how would, and you are interviewing for UBS, how would that change? Would they need to, you need to ask sensible questions. And after you have done all that kind of questions, you need to also ask, what are the next steps? Next steps. Or when can I start? When can I start? When can I start? So I hope this has been helpful to you. So I've rushed all the questions. So we're going to point 7, God willing, next week. Do we have any question? Today I've been very quiet, maybe because any question do we have?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I don't have any question, but I want to say thank you. Because when you said about know your strength,
Yeah.
I began to jot down my strength to know which one do I have or what is my weakness. So I want to appreciate, I think I know my strength more than my weakness, which to face a lot of any applications I'm going into. So I want to say thank you, sir. So I don't have any question, just to say thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. So like I said, your weakness, everybody has, don't go for an interview and say, what's your weakness? Say, I don't have a weakness. You might not get that job. It means you don't self-reflect. It means you're not being truthful. It means you're not being human. Everybody has a weakness, things you can improve. It means you think you are at the apex. It means you think there's no improvement. There's no room for improvement. And there should always be room for improvement. You must have that growth mindset. I can improve. I can be better than where I am now. So that is very, very important. Thank you for that. So no more question. If there are no more, I hope I shared this flyer about the business analysis training. Like I mentioned severally on this, in this job club, that for those of us who have relocated from Nigeria, moved for studies or anything, you need to begin to reinvent yourself. You need to go to think of getting new skills, getting to do new things, and see how you can help you to navigate. And that's why we are, that business analysis training is being provided to help support those who are looking for a job, so you can reskill, retool, and equip yourself with new skills that could help you get a job. And it was there's another business analysis training, which we are also being run in Aberdeen. Somebody yesterday, they mentioned that they got a job as a business analyst. That was very encouraging. So there are opportunities there, but you need to change your mindset. You need to think of, can I get new skill? Can I do something else? Can I, help do something else that can help me and position me on, differentiate me when I go for interview. So there are various options and there are many things that could be done that will help you in that regard. So Wisdom Tenny, today is your first day. I think I will just stop. Can we meet you, Wisdom Tenny?